start out with the first simple one, and then we can raise our hands and we'll be called on it and start the questions. We're going to be rotating the order that y'all received the questions. And Terri, you win this time. You're going to get the first question first. Y'all are aware you have to take an oath of office and be bonded. What does that mean to you?
The oath of office means everything to me, like the oath and commitment to my husband. I will honor that oath and I will respect that oath 100%. And I can look each of you in the eye and say, when I promise to do something, I promised to do something. And I will do everything that I can to honor that oath. I will not step on my oath and I will not step on your oath. And one of the oaths that you take is to protect and preserve the Constitution of the United States. Each and every elected official on the county court violated that sacred oath. I guarantee you, I will fight to protect our liberties and our freedoms. That will be my first thing. Second thing I will do is I will fight for your ability to make your own decisions. You have that God-given right. Who am I to make that decisions and make those decisions for you? You have the right to make those choices yourself.
Do you know what bonding means?
Yes, I'm a real estate agent. Basically what that means, and I'm also a former elected official. What that bond means is that I believe, protected against anything that I do wrong. I'm insured on that. So if I do something wrong continuously, guess who can't be bonded anymore? So if you're not able to be bonded, how can you be trusted?
You got to file a complaint to get unbonded.
Yeah, there you go. So I'm bondable. Let's just say that.
JT, you're next with that question.
In the Bible, it says, make your yes be yes and your no be no. You know, taking an oath for something probably important because it states where you stand. You know, I agree with Terri. You know, if you say I'm going to uphold the Constitution and all that, you might all think about what you just said, because in my mind, words matter. If you say you're going to do something, do it. Say what you mean what you say. So if you take the oath, you need to follow it. And if it says stand up for the folks of Williamson County, then you better stand up for the folks of Williamson County. As far as the bonded part, no, I didn't know the exact explanation of bonded, because I'm not a politician. I'm not an educated person as far as that goes. But to me, bonded means if you say something, you're making a bond with people to do what you say you're going to do. So, you know, I'm sure there's a legal definition of it and all such as that, but just be honest. Tell people what you mean and say what you mean and do what you mean.
Ryan?
Your turn.
Thanks. That's one of the main reasons why I'm running, is because I feel like that's exactly what we're not getting with our current leadership, and I will do everything in my abilities to honor that oath as the best way I can to stand for y'all's liberties. I'm a human being. We all make some mistakes from time to time, but when it comes to our core liberties, we've got to be very protective of those. I believe we got, fear-mongered into letting that happen at that time, and as data shows now, it looks like we got taken. I think we need to be extraordinarily careful, because I'm not convinced that something else isn't going to come along that is some emergency that tries to take more of our liberties. And at that time, while it may not be a popular decision, we have to make the right decision for the people even in those hard times. And that's going to be, a very challenging thing for anybody to have to face. But I'm prepared to do that and take the beating that I may get as a response if it came to something like that. But I'm going to do it in favor of the people and rely on that, on God's truths and on our constitutional values, and really look hard when we have to make decisions about emergency situations, because that's where they're taking it. Declaring emergencies and then saying I can do whatever I want. county judge. I'm not interested in having that kind of power. We need to protect our people as best we can as far as the government's responsibility is concerned. The rest of it, the people have a responsibility too, to do what's right for them. And I think we need to educate people on those and let them know. The government can say, here's your options, or here's some things, you know, choose the best path for you. But I'm not here to dictate what it's gonna be. So.
I was trying to find the oath of office so we could point out exactly where they broke it.
Yeah.
But Google won't let me in the metal building.
Oh,
So.
it's the form you're in that won't.
Right.
So we'll open it up to questions now. Anybody have questions?
I always have questions. Okay, so lobbyists. We have a lot of people. If you look at the commissioner's records now, currently, how much money has been funneling into their coffers, it looks mysteriously like road construction, developers. I mean, it's the who's who of growth in our county. So to me, that's probably not illegal, but I think it's highly unethical. If you go to commissioner's court, you're hearing them say, I have to recuse myself here because I'm getting a $10,000 check.
When did you
won't say
ever
that.
hear I have to recuse myself?
You should never have to take money so you're recusing yourself. It's a quid pro quo. Money for something, always. So how do you guys, here's the question. How are you guys gonna handle that? How are you handling it right now as you're running? And how are you gonna handle it after you win?
And this is JT first, and then Ryan, and then Terri.
Oh, I'm ready for that. My question is, you know, when have you ever heard any of them recuse themselves?
Judge Gravel does recuse himself from certain votes in regard to, I forget the one developer, but whatever that is on there, James Construction. He does recuse himself.
Okay. Well, if you look at my campaign finance report, it's all money from, words matter. The vast majority of my money in my campaign finance report has come from people in Precinct 2. People in Precinct 2. If you look at Cynthia Long's, I have outraised her from the people in Precinct 2. Because the vast majority of her money comes from out of town, out of county, out of precinct, from all these road developers, these lawyer groups, and all this kind of stuff. So who's she beholden to? Those folks. I'm beholden to the people of Precinct 2 and Williamson County. So, and, you know, I'm really not beholden to them, but I need to answer to those folks. I don't need to answer to HNTB Engineering Group. I don't need to answer to ABC Lawyer Group. I don't need to answer to some outfit out of Houston or Dallas or
Austin.
that's too close. Or any of them other people. I need to answer to people from Williamson County
Yeah.
and my precinct. So,
Okay, well, I'll start with what I can do right now. I haven't accepted any money, nor has anybody. If I do get approached from a business, you know, and after the primary, I suspect when something like that might happen, I'm not going to take their money because I don't want to be beholden to anybody and that would disrupt or interfere with my ability to properly represent the people of the county that are really putting you in office. Lobbyists are a big problem in this country. I think there is a conflict of interest when you look at what all goes on there, and it's a very dangerous game, and I think it just breeds corruption. So it opens the door to it, and if you're going to give people money that are making votes or having any say in who gets awarded what contract for roads in Williamson County or whatever it may be, you can't give an honest vote on that if you know you're getting kickbacks another way, whether it be for your campaign or whether it be for that. And I think it's something that we need to look at as an entire nation. I think it's led to where we are today. It has a big factor in it. My goal is to not be, I gotta keep my integrity. And the only way to do that is to not accept money from big businesses because again, there's an expectation with any dollar, whether they say it or not, it's there. And it could compromise your better judgment. So the best thing you can do is just reject that money if it comes your way, and I will pledge to do that before this group. I won't accept big business money during my campaign. If we get past this primary and we're in the main election, I suspect that's when that temptation is going to come. But I'll tell you, I will not accept it. I'm going to rely on the people, and this is ultimately God's race. He seats kings, right? So I'm here to represent the people, and I'm going to stick to that. I'm not here to represent a company. I work in corporate America. There's things I don't like, trust me. So.
Well, I can say this, Marcia, I have a known history of advocating against being bought as a politician. I actually proposed policy in Round Rock ISD in regards to the bonds, that when I started seeing, because I am intelligent and I do pay attention, I started seeing where the bond members that were appointed by the board members, get that, remember that, they're appointed, I started seeing that they were proposing all these bonds and they would be pushing for them and pushing for them, and then when the contracts were awarded from those bonds, it was those same people. And I was like, let me figure this out. Follow the money, okay? Follow the money, follow the money. So then I proposed as a policy that if you serve on a bond committee, you cannot, nor can your family, benefit from any bond dollars for up to 10 years. Well, let me just tell you, that went over like a lead balloon. And I got attacked from all kinds of areas. So that's when I went ding, ding, ding. I see that, and I see that in the county. My opponent, the current sitting commissioners, campaign contributions, over 50% of it come from outside of the county and PACs that are architects, engineer, road, and infrastructure. Head scratcher. And what I learned as the 7 years when I was in there, learning how that game was played, I got a greater understanding, and it goes back to my teachings, or I should say my learning, and as a teacher and a mentor, back to the statement in the opening ceremonies of the Texas FFA. And it's by the treasurer, no doubt, who is represented by the emblem of George Washington. And George Washington said repeatedly that it says, I am better able to serve my country because I am financially independent. That is huge. And when that sinks into your heads, you'll understand why it's important not to take dollars from lobbyists. Because any dollar that is donated, there is an expectation that comes from that, just like Ryan said, just like JT said. And I feel honored to sit here amongst these two men that say, I just won't sell my integrity. Neither will I. And I will call it out. And that, again, they don't like that. I will not take money with an expectation that they can bend my ear. When I served on the ISD, I was told, come on, Terri, vote that way. Please vote for me, because if you don't, they'll call my loan. They will hurt my parents' employment. And my head was like, you gotta be kidding me. That's against the law. No, it isn't. It's integrity issues. It's wrong, but it happens every day. And that's why I don't have any loans with local banks that participate in this tomfoolery. I am independently employed, and that's why it's important that we hold our integrity, we stand up against the lobbyists, and we stand for the people.
One quick side, in my personal deal, I noticed that both of them said they were Christians. I hope you figured out I am too. I read every single day in the book of Proverbs. If it's the first day of the month, it's the first chapter. If it's the second, it's the second. There's 31 Proverbs and 31 days in the month. At the end of the month, I start back over at chapter 1. And I've been sitting here trying to think while she's talking. I can't come up with it just yet, but there's one in there that says that if you pay somebody, I mean, it's that bribing stuff. I mean, don't accept money, because they're going to influence you. Just keep down with the folks. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, Rick, you have a question, and then it's going to be Ryan,
Some of you.
Terry, and then JT. And JT, you're gonna have to cut it short.
Relative to taking oaths of office, which many of you have mentioned.
Can't hear you, Rick.
Talk louder, Rick.
Oaths of office, right? You've all mentioned that. So you take an oath to defend the Constitution of the United States. How many of you have actually read the Constitution of the United States and understand, because you've read it and you've studied it, what you're taking an oath to? Have you read it or not? You've all read it. I think a lot of our politicians, even the ones in Washington, probably haven't, because they act like they haven't.
But that,
Or they have and they don't take their oath seriously.
Exactly.
So y'all have all answered that, or you have more to say?
You've all read the Constitution.
Well, not only have I read the Constitution, I am currently in one of the best classes that I have been in years, and it's called Biblical Citizenship, and it's an offshoot of the Founder's Bible, and to me that just reiterates. You can say you read the Constitution. Yes, I read the Constitution. Actually, I'm probably one of the last students that studied it in high school in depth as we did, because they changed it, over the years. But it's like the Bible. You got to keep revisiting it and revisiting it, because it's a living, fluid document. And so if there's a question, you go back to the Bible, you go back to the Constitution, because the Constitution was built on the Bible and the rights of free people.
And as a follow-up to that, since you seem to be interested in reading supplementary material, I would suggest a book called The 5,000-Year Leap. Heard of it?
5,000-year leap?
5,000-Year Leap. It is half of its Bible and half of its Constitution, and it threads the two together.
I'll have that book in my home.
Excellent. Okay. Y'all satisfied?
I'll echo that. I'm taking the same class she is in a different area out in Leander, and it's wonderful. It's neat, and it's very enlightening. And yeah, it's a journey, the Constitution itself. And I can't say that I've memorized it and I know it as well as one probably should know it, but I'm continuously trying to learn and be a student of the Constitution so that I can represent those values. But if I don't know something, I'm going to consult others. That's what I do. Experts that do know things, that's what I have to do in my professional world too, which is assemble groups that have unique talents that, because I can't know it all, but that's part of managing, is pulling the teams together. They can do things the correct way and the smartest way by collaboration amongst peers. So,
What's the name of that class you're taking?
biblical citizenship.
And who puts it on?
Oh,
Patriot Academy.
Patriot Academy. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Casey
Rick
Sullivan.
Green. Casey Soul's doing the one I'm at.
Thank you.
Out in Leander. But it's a great course. If anybody hasn't taken it, I would highly recommend doing it because it's very good and very enlightening.
Amen.
They don't teach that kind of history in schools anymore. They didn't teach it when I was a kid either. And it's amazing to learn some things that maybe you didn't know before. I'm not argue anybody's stand to gain, but there's a commercial for them, but it's worth it. Highly recommend it.
And that may be a class that we can hold here if people want to do it.
I'm gonna tell you what, it's the most awesome
Add
class.
on to that, Article 1, Texas Constitution, Texas Bill of Rights. Article 2 is only one paragraph, and it tells the division between the government entities, legislature, etc. It's only about a total of 2.5 pages of reading. It's fundamental to our rights as Texans.
Buddy, you have a question?
Buddy Pct, I live in Christian. Didn't kind of stole my thunder there. I don't care so much about the U.S. Constitution as I do to the Texas Constitution. Article 1 of the Texas Constitution says that we are a free and independent state, and our participation in the Union is dependent on our right of local self-control being unencumbered. Article 2 says that the people have at all times the inherent right to abolish, reform their form of government as they see fit. The Texas Nationalist Movement has been circulating a pledge for candidates called the Texas First Pledge. It's basically a candidate pledges to, in all their decisions, put the interest of Texans first. None of y'all are running for legislature, so it doesn't necessarily pertain to the office that y'all will be serving in necessarily, but I mean, things do trickle down to county level. I guess the sticky wicket that a lot of candidates get hung up on is the pledge to allow the citizens of Texas to vote on remaining as part of the union or reasserting our independence. But that's right there in Article 2 of the Constitution. So, I think, if I'm mistaken, I think this is the easy answer to Mr. Cox. But have y'all either read that pledge and signed it or not, or are you familiar with it? I have it here. Y'all just looking at it.
Well, I'll take a look at the copy. I've seen it. I read it actually, I think within the last couple of days. It's fairly in depth. So I haven't signed it, but I think there's a lot to digest there. Because I don't, to your point, we're not running for legislative office. I don't know that we're really going to be in a position, but I will say, as the county judge position goes, we do have certain authorities to keep the federal government away, and our sheriff's office does too, some major ones. So I'm interested in talking with reaching across the aisle to Mr. Gleason over there to talk to him about where he stands on some of those things, because if there's federal mandates that come across into our, we have every right to not enforce them at the sheriff's office level. We can stop that and eliminate that overreach right here at the county. And I would fully support that. I'm all for Texas first, but Williamson County first, Texas, the United States. I think we should be looking out for our own best interest. That's why we're representing at this level. If I wanted to represent the federal level, I'd run for that office, but I'm here to try and make an impact locally and represent the people of this county, not people of Travis County or any other county, but this county, the people who live here. Those are the ones that matter. So, but I'd be happy to take a copy of that and I'll review it again, but there was a lot to digest, so I didn't want to, put my name on something I wasn't sure about that quickly, but I'd like to learn more about it. So I think there were some things about secession in there, and I wasn't sure. I know that's a delicate conversation for people, but hopefully we can resolve things without secession. Secession, in my opinion, would be kind of a last resort, and that's what we need to do. And our government's not protecting our borders these days, so there's a lot of things to weigh out right now. We're in big trouble here in the United States, and I aim to just preserve what we can in our own county level and get strong there, because we have more of an impact there than we will on the federal level at this point in time.
Terri, JT, y'all will respond?
Well, I will say this, if you've heard me speak before, I've chosen, you've heard the term globalist, and you've heard the term nationalist. Well, I like to label, I don't really like labels, but you're gonna label me, so I wanna be labeled a localist. And that's what I am. I'm a localist. I did see the oath, and as a former elected official, I understand the roles. And that's where, when you said about, state reps, and that's their role. Their role would be making that decision. Our role is to support the people locally and what is best for the local people first. That is why I have chosen not to run at a higher office, because I care about the people. I don't care about anything until the people are taken care of. And then when the people want to do what they want to do, then that's when I will represent what they want. It's not necessarily our role as county officials to exercise that. But I think from what you've heard from all of us is that we're for the people, and we will honor the Constitution of the United States and honor our oath to God when we make that promise.
JT?
I would like to, hang on.
After you're done, I'm sorry.
I'd like to see this paper you're talking about. I guess I'm not familiar with it. I don't want to, I had a hard time hearing your question, but I'd like to see what you I don't want to put words in your mouth, so I want to see this paper. Let me tell you this. We're not running for state, federal, or whatever. We're running for people right here. And I, personally, and I think they will too, will stand up for your rights. There is nobody so important that in an office above you somewhere else that don't have the time to come and talk to you.
Amen.
And the county judge we have right now is one of them. But I don't care who you are no more important as an elected official than a normal citizen. And you deserve to give them the time of day. The only person I can maybe think of that wouldn't do that would maybe be the President of the United States. But I'm very, very passionate on listening to the people, and I think everybody else ought to also.
Amen.
Tam-